Sawe, Sawete, Discipuli, Sum Ricky LaRosa, Suum Magister. Good evening, students. Good evening to all, to one and all. I'm your instructor, Ricky LaRosa, and we're going to review the conjugation of the verb to see. In English, in Spanish, ver, and in Latin, video, videre. As we recall, in Latin, the V in classical Latin is always pronounced as a W. This is a review, number one, for the Latin and Grammar Academy of Long Island. A special greetings to my students of this very special class we hold every Friday at the Freeport Library. And we're going to dive right in to this lesson. In English, the verb to see, the infinite verb to see, does not really change much in its 6 forms. I see a bird. You see a bird. He, she, it sees a bird. Here the verb changed just a little bit with the addition of the S at the end. We see a bird. You all see a bird. Or in the north of the Mason-Dixie line, you guys see a bird. They see a bird. First person, singular. First person, second person, singular. Third person, singular. First person, plural. Second person, plural. Third person, plural. And yet we have see, sees, see, see. It really only changed in the third person, singular. He sees a bird. She sees a bird. It sees a bird. Let's go now to the Spanish conjugation of the verb, the infinitive verb to see, ver in Spanish. First person, singular. Yo veo un pájaro. Yo veo. Second person, singular. Tú ves un pájaro. Third person, singular. Él ve un pájaro. Ella ve un pájaro. Usted ve un pájaro. First person, plural. Vemos un pájaro. Second person, plural. Vosotros, vosotras veis un pájaro. And third person, plural. Ellos ven un pájaro. Ellos ven, ellas ven, ustedes ven. Let's dive right into the Latin. The infinite verb video, videre, videre, video. Again, in the classical pronunciation of Latin, the V is always pronounced as a W. First person, singular, video awis, video awis. Second person, singular, vedes awis, vedes awis. Third person, singular, vedet awis, vedet awis. First person, plural, vedemus avis. Vedemus, avis. Second person plural. Second person plural. We is, excuse me, where is, oh, that's Spanish, excuse me. No wonder it looked a little strange for me. Come on, guys out there, you're supposed to be telling me when I make a mistake like that. Here's the Latin right here. Vedetis, vedetis, avis. Second person plural. And the third person plural, they, or in Spanish, ellos, ellas, ustedes. Vedent avis. Vedent avis. Vedent avis. Okay. So when I say video, this O at the end of the conjugation of the verb video tells me that it is in the first person. Okay? I don't really have to say the pronoun I in Latin, which is ego. I can't say it if I want to. Ego video avis, which means literally I see a bird. Now, when we say vedes avis, standing alone, the two words, the verb and the noun bird, vedes avis, we do not know if it is this is you. We do know. This is the second person singular. What I was trying to say, discipulus, when we say vedet always in the third person singular by itself without the pronouns in front of it, we do not know if it is a he, a she, or it pronoun. Third person singular. It could be either one of the three. If we want to be more specific in our sentence, we have to add the pronoun that we're trying to say. He, she, or it. The pronouns for he in Latin, and remember that Latin, we have grammatical gender for the nouns, for the pronouns. So if it's he, male, it would be obviously ille. If it's she, illa. Okay. For the third person singular. For the first person plural, we vedemus avis. Vedemus, M-U-S, tells me that this is we. We don't really have to put the pronoun we in front of the verb because this is we see. In English, we need two words to say vedemos. But in here, the verb, the see, and the suffix mus is telling me that this is the plural first person. If we want to add we in front in Latin for emphasis or in poetry, for whatever reason, we can do that. When we add the verb, the pronoun nos, nos videmos avis. Okay? And the same thing for the third person plural. They. In English, it's they. In English, we do not have grammatical gender. We have grammatical gender in Spanish. We have grammatical gender in Latin, and to the very strict sense of the term. So if I say to you in English, they see a bird, they can imply all men. They can imply all women, or they can imply a mixture of women and men, masculine and feminine persons. We don't know. They see a bird. In Spanish, we have grammatical gender. We must explain if it is male or female, masculine, feminine, in the pronouns ellos, which is they, masculine. If it was all women, it would be ellas. The O is reserved for the masculine, the A is reserved for the feminine. Okay. In Latin, if I say only the verb, third person plural, vedent, avis, they see a bird. We don't know if it's all male, all female, or a mixture of the two. If we want to be specific, we need to add the pronoun for they, or the pronouns for they in Latin. For the male, the masculine, it would be e, ei, 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 vident, avis. Okay? They, the men, see the bird. If it's all female, it would be ei, vedet, avis. The e is pronounced short like an egg, the short e in English. This is our first diphthong and the most commonly used diphthong in classical Latin. A-E, which is pronounced I, like the long I in English in the word like or mic or bike. If it is a neuter they, it would be ea, ea for the neuter. Ea vedent avis, ei male vedent avis, ei vedent avis for female. And one last point. In English, we have the article a. A. They see a bird. We have the article in English. In English, we only have three articles. A and the. In Spanish, we have 8 articles. Un, unos, el, los, una, unas, la, las. 8. 4 masculine, 4 feminine. So we have 2 in English articles. I'm sorry, 3. A and the. We have 8 in Spanish. In Latin, we have 0. There are no articles in Latin. But when we translate from the Latin into the English, we must accommodate the articles as they are needed to make a complete sentence as we speak in English or as we write in English. And I hope you enjoyed this review for the Latin and Grammar Academy of Long Island. Until next time, this is your Magister Ricky LaRosa saying, Wale, Walete,